This video will show you how to complete page 15 out of your math book. So the first question says, the 7th grade student surveyed 25 students at her school. She asked them how many hours a week they spend playing a sport or game outdoors. The results are listed in the table below. So in looking at the table, right here I see the number of hours, and so 0 hours to 8 hours were represented in this survey. And then I see there's little tally marks right here. And this must have just been what this 7th grade student who was doing the survey, what she was using just to kind of keep track of the responses to her survey. So she'd go up and ask a student and ask them how many hours a week they spent playing a sport or game outdoors. And if they said 0 hours, she'd put a tally mark, okay? So at the end of her survey, after she surveyed these 25 students, these are the results. Remember, frequency means how many there were. So remember, these tally marks tell us how many there were. So she just converted it over here into their numerical representation. So obviously 3, 4, 5, 7, 3, 0, 2, 0, and 1. Okay? So we're supposed to draw a dot plot of the results. And they were really nice in the math book because they already put a number line right here that represented the number of hours from 0 to 8. So now we just have to transfer this frequency onto this number line right here in the form of dots to display the results. So to do that, you should have for 0 number of hours, that happened 3 times, so you just draw 3 dots. I'm just going to draw like circles so you can see them. If I just did a little dot like that, it may not be able to be visible to you. Okay, so go ahead right now, pause the video and do that, and here's what you should have gotten. Well, hopefully yours are straighter than mine. Okay, and this reflects this information from the survey. Okay. Suppose that a student will be randomly selected. What is your estimate for the probability that student is answering 3 hours? Well, I see probability, and you know how you want to represent probability as a fraction, decimal, or percent. If I just looked up here and I just saw, okay, 3 hours is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can't say 7. Because that's 7 out of the total that were surveyed, okay? And right now, I don't know how many total were surveyed. So whenever you see frequency, you want to go ahead and add those all together to get your total. Let's go ahead and add them all together to get your total. And you should have gotten 25, which is interesting. I mean, it should match up like this because it literally tells you 25 students were surveyed, okay? So that the probability that a student is answering 3 hours is 7 out of the 25. Okay, and I'm going to draw arrows because you see how they did not give you much room to write. Okay, that fraction cannot simplify into a more simplified fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and go 7 divided by 25, show you the decimal, which will show you, then I'll show you the percentage. Okay, letter C, what's your estimate for the probability that a student's answering 8 hours? So go ahead and look at the data. Oh, it's 1 out of the 25. Which is 4/100, which is 4%. D, what's your estimate for the probability of that student answering 6 or more hours? That's very important to see. So you can go ahead and look at 6 or more. So are you 6 or more? Yep, we too are. Are you 6 or more? Oh, there's no one there. Are you 6 or more? Yep. So there's 1, 2, 3. 3 out of the 25. Okay? Please make sure you understand that. Rewind the video if that didn't make any sense, okay? 6 or more hours. So you could also look at the table, draw a line right there. These are all 6 or more hours. Count these up. 2 plus 1 more is 3 out of the 25. And that's going to give you 12/100, which would give you 12%. Okay, here's another one of those kind of sort of tricky worded ones. What is your estimate of the probability for the probability of that student answering 3 or fewer? Okay? 3 or fewer. So, I mean, you kind of talk to your paper. Hey, are you 3 or fewer? Nope. Are you 3 or fewer? Nope. Are you 3 or fewer? Nope. Are you 3 or fewer? No. Are you 3 or fewer? No. Are you 3 or fewer? Yeah. And there's 7 of you. Hey, are you 3 or fewer? Yep. There's 5 of you. Are you 3 or fewer? Yes. There's 4 of you. Are you 3 or fewer? Yes. There's 3 of you. So all those ones that are 3 or fewer, you want to add those together. 7 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3. And when you add that together, you should get 19 out of the 25. And when I go 19 divided by 25, I would get 76 hundredths, which is 76%. The next one, letter F. If another 25 students were surveyed, do you think they would give the exact same results? Explain your answer. So I said, no, each group of 25 students could answer the questions differently. Okay? Probably not. Okay, the next one, G. If there are 200 students at the school, what's your estimate for the number of students who would say they play a sport or game outdoors 3 hours per week? Explain your answer. So remember, this is only 25 students, and it's telling us that there's 200 students right here. So we're going to go with the data that is given to us and use that to base our hypothesis on, okay? So they were concerned about 3 hours per week. So we're going to hone in on that 3 hours per week. And I see that there are 7 tallies. It happened 7 times. So 7 students said that they spend time playing a sport or game outdoors 3 hours per week. So I'm going to go ahead and use that information, that 7 out of the 25 total. So that 7 represents the 3 hours outside. And then that 25 represents, the whole of the survey results. But now they're asking, well, okay, if there's 200 students at the school, how many do you think would say 3 hours outside? Well, again, we have a proportion right here, and to figure out equivalent proportions or equivalent fractions, we got to decide, well, gosh, how do we go from 25 to 200 or 200 to 25? Well, to go from 25 to 200, I got to go, okay, well, did I multiply by 1? 25 times 1 is 25, so that's not it. 2. 25 times 2 is 50, so that's not it. And see how this might take a little bit longer with the guessing and checking? A faster way to do this is to go 200 divided by 25, and you would get 8. So I know that I'm going to go 25 times 8, I get 200. And so I'd have to go 7 times 8, and I get 56. That right there is the estimate of the number of students who would say they play a sport or game outdoors 3 hours per week.